Yo guys, what is good? I hope you're all doing absolutely amazing and are trading very safely in the markets. Now welcome back to another video, and today's video is going to be a weekly market breakdown video. So what I'm going to be doing in this video exactly is going to be looking through to the news for this coming week, and obviously if you don't know already, it's going to be a very heavy news week, so we'll have a close look into that soon. And of course I'll be going through some key levels in some key sort of points of interest, if you will, on my chosen Forex pairs, which obviously if you've not noticed by now is the list is a lot shorter than beforehand. So I'm really go deeper and deeper into these fewer pairs, and these are the few pairs that I've found seem to be giving me more profitable setups, so that's why I've decided to cut down the watch list. But with that all being said, let's jump straight into the market breakdown. So jumping straight into the news analysis part of this video. So as we can see in the news coming up now, we are on Forex Factory, and we will have a look at investing.com as well, just to see if there's any differences. But for now, from what we can see on Forex Factory, we can see on Monday we do have a bank holiday for euro and pound. Obviously for the Chinese one as well, and Swiss franc, they've all got bank holidays, so there may not be too much movement on the Monday, but seeing as we do have a 3 p.m. news release for the dollar, I feel like that there will still be a lot of movement on Monday's price action, so definitely keep an eye on things. Now looking forward to the rest of the week's news, see we've got Aussie dollar cash rate, so it's basically the interest rates being released for the month of May for the Aussie dollar on Tuesday, a very early Tuesday morning, obviously in UK time we're in, and we can see that we've got NZD unemployment rate later on that same day, and a couple of different US dollar newses. Now the main news events for the coming week, in my opinion, is going to be on Wednesday and Friday. Now on Wednesday, what have we got? At 7 p.m. we've got the federal funds rate, the FOMC statement, essentially the interest rate decision for the current month for the US dollar. So we'll definitely expect to see a very high level of volatility and movement on the charts on Wednesday for that FOMC statement. We can also see following the day, well, there are some other news events for the dollar as well prior to that during the New York session, so that there may be some moves that we can catch in the run up to FOMC, and that's when we could really get those high profitability risk to reward trades. Now looking forward to the Thursday, we do have euro interest rates as well, so there's a lot of high impact news this week coming, so please do be prepared and don't over leverage and don't risk more than you can afford to trade with. But yeah, we have euro interest rates at 1:15 p.m. on Thursday, unemployment claims as usual on Thursday at 1:30 p.m. and a few other news events as well. Then the main one is going to be NFP on the Friday. We've got the unemployment rates for the US dollar and the Canadian dollar at 1:30 p.m. UK time. So if you've not looked at a NFP news week before, or even a interest rate refinancing rate or FOMC federal funds rate, whatever it is, if you haven't looked at these before, then please do go back and look at previous case study videos, previous market outlook videos which I've done, where I go over and have a look at basically what to expect. So as you can see, there's a whole host of very high impact news this week, so if you're someone that doesn't like trading news, then this may be a week where you do not trade as much as you would usually. But yeah, seeing everything that on Forex Factory, let's take a look at investing.com just in case there is any differences. So we can see, of course, all the bank holidays there for the May Day bank holiday, and as we can see, the news events running into this week. We've got a high impact news on Monday still at around that time, so I think this is the wrong time zone. Bear with me whilst I put it on the right time zone again. There we go. So in terms of the news that we're expecting, yeah, so now it's back into UK time, that makes more sense. Yeah, looking into the Tuesday, we've got the main thing is going to be this Euro news at 10 a.m. right over here. and then obviously the Aussie dollar interest rate decision as well early in the morning. So beware of those. There's no differences as seen on Wednesday either. By the looks of it, it looks pretty similar to what we've seen on Forex Factory. The FOMC statement on 7 o'clock there. Thursday is the euro interest rate. So where is that? Yeah, we've got that right here, the monetary policy statement and the interest rate decision. As you can see, they're expecting to raise it by 0.25%, so by 25 basis points. And then obviously at the time we'll see what it is they exactly do. And on Friday we can see we've got the main NFP news release at 1:30 p.m. right there. So yeah, not many differences in terms of the investing.com and Forex Factory calendars, but that's a good thing. So yeah, we'll see how things go. So jumping straight into the TradingView market breakdown, where we're going to have a look at all of these currency pairs and of course the DXY. So starting off on DXY, and we'll start off from the daily time frame. Now what we can see from this daily point of interest, this daily demand zone, where price saw a really strong increase in value over here for DXY. We saw price go up from there, and we can see that price has slowly made its way back down to that same demand zone. In actual fact, when you zoom in and take a closer look, you'll actually be able to see that it's taken out this previous low just about in there with this wick, and it's manipulated price and gone back to the upside. So as we go into lower time frames and have a closer look, we can see that it's created a 4-hour sell to buy scenario where price has successfully mitigated with a strong wick rejection and seen higher prices in result of that. So as we have a look and see, in a bit more detail, we can see the hourly movement down, which is obviously back into this 4-hour demand zone. But as it's gone back to the upside from that move, we can see there's equal high liquidity over here, and we can see that there's been a very manipulative move on that liquidity. So we can see a very strong sharp movement up to take out the liquidity, not going above the previous supply, as you can see right in there, not sort of invalidating that supply. And we can see price that has basically reduced and gone back down into lower prices essentially. And so we've got rise to a few more demand zones now based on these levels right here. So we go on to the 3-minute time frame, and what we can see at the top here is basically this the whole of the buy to sell movement. And I've also included the little base drop region as well, just to create it as one entire zone instead of splitting it up. So we've got that area for the 3-minute, and on the 5-minute time frame we can see that it's approaching sort of one of those mid-range supply zones right in here. So we've got the nice base drop price action right in there. It takes out the demand that caused this movement up, and it's also taken out demand that caused this crazy movement up here as well. So we can see price is slowly making its way there. It started to consolidate already, which is already a good sign. So let's see if it can push back up into this level here and potentially come to the downside. Now something I've just spotted as well, just by looking at the charts again now, is we do have this 5-minute supply zone as well, which is currently already trading in. So providing that it stays within this range and it stays within this zone, and moves to the downside, then we'll definitely be able to maybe go for some earlier sells. But I am anticipating for this one to be working out a lot better. But again, we'll just wait for the price action, see what it looks like on market open, and we'll see if these alerts do get hit. So that is my current bias for the DXY. Now looking into Euro USD for now. And what we can see is on the daily time frame here, we've got a nice buy to sell candle. It's just been mitigated pretty recently, but we can see that in the run up to that region, we've had very strong drops of price coming in. And now the closer we're getting to that zone, the closer we're seeing these very long wick rejections down, showing us that this area does want to be rejected from. So as we go into these lower time frames and have a closer look at exactly the price action which we're talking about, you can see over here previous liquidity built up over here on these relatively equal highs. Price spikes up into the supply zone and drops down very aggressively once more. We then see it retrace back up into a premium region to then sell off further, and we can see the price action and the order flow that follows it, which is what we're trying to track right now. So in terms of the supply zone, let's start off with supply first. And we can see right in here the last 5-minute candle, which caused this very strong spike to the upside following the big downwards movement. We can see that that area has been respected in here quite nicely. So perhaps we get another level of supply kicking in, maybe from this sort of area. We can see on the 5-minute there's that last sort of candle in that premium area, and we want to see if price can basically distribute again within there. So that's one option that we're going to be waiting for. Now on the flip side of things, we can see right in here that there's a low over here, and we can see price manipulated that low quite nicely in here. So as we have a look on that 1 minute time frame and definitely have a look at this price action, we can see basically where the equal lows were met, had the nice sell to buy manipulation, which price then retraced back into to then show higher prices. Now since then we've got this rally based rally over here and another rally based rally over here just below it. So we've got two demand zones there which haven't quite been tapped into. However, we do have this rally base rally segment in here, which you can see price is successfully rejecting quite nicely. So we had a good reaction above right there, and then late into Friday of last week, the price action you can start to see it is rejecting, but it's still floating around where market closed. Obviously it's a bit risky going for that trade there, obviously due to the timing of the trade, and obviously as market opens sometimes we do see how markets can, you know, gap, and if this is to gap to the downside and go against you, and if you went for the buys in there, then sometimes your stop loss wouldn't even have been triggered. So it's quite dangerous to enter sort of at the end of a week and, you know, holding positions open with the entry so close to current price. So we've got that area there. I just want to be waiting to see what price action does, you know, on market open around this level. So we'll be waiting for that, and of course there is one more zone right in here on EURUSD for the 3-minute time frame, bang on in there. So there's a couple different demand zones which we need to keep an eye out for, so it would definitely be worth setting a few alerts around these levels, and we'll be able to see exactly which level gets the respect. That's pretty much my bias for EURUSD. Moving on to AUDUSD and looking at the daily time frame once more, we still haven't quite tapped into this nice rally based rally that's been left open. You know, it came very close into it here, bullish movement upwards there, you know, showing right in there, and we can see it has manipulated this trend line, sell to buy, but in doing so it got into supply and price has found its way going bearish again. So something I want to sort of run by is we could be seeing, and something that I was expecting is basically a break below this level right in here to get into this deeper demand zone and then go bullish. But upon further reflection and upon looking at this a bit closer on the lower time frames, we may get an earlier move to the upside, so we're going to cover that right now. So stepping down into these lower time frames, we can see even on the 4-hour what I'd be looking into. So we can see there's a strong wick to the downside, and that's that lowest low, and then from then on it goes to create that bullish market. So this is the lowest point in here, so demand at the bottom up to these equal lows over here. So that would be our main demand zone, and as we scroll across and see exactly how things have sort of started to react in there, as soon as price gets into there it does consolidate. Obviously we are on the 4-hour time frame right now, so we'll have a look at lower time frames, but that as a reaction from a demand zone on the 4-hour is a very strong reaction. So that's why we're thinking we may be able to get some earlier buys in. But as we go into lower time frames, we'll have a closer look at these things, and especially how it reacted into that zone. We saw consolidation up into this level, a lot of wick rejection over here, so liquidity building up, and then in that one hourly candle we actually start to see that sell to buy accumulation style of move right in there. So if we go into the 5-minute, we'll be able to see the accumulation quite clearly within there, which gave rise to this higher price. And as we look into the 30-minute time frame, we can see here the 30-minute supply. We've got a nice buy to sell scenario where equal highs were taken out. You know, you've got these equal highs right in here, and you've got these relatively equal highs over here as well. So essentially the buy to sell candle that took that out, and I've also included the base drop in that point of interest as well, just to keep that whole 30-minute supply zone. So we'll be waiting for supply in there, just sort of continuing with this downtrend. And then on the flip side of things, obviously we've seen a good reaction from this demand. It's accumulated most definitely within that zone or just above that zone, spiking into it and going up bullish. So something I am waiting for is this 15-minute demand zone right here. So we've got a nice rally situation over here for the 15-minute time frame, and I basically want to be seeing if price will be able to accumulate and basically give proof of this demand zone and continue this bullish move to the upside. If it can, then we know we could look to target up to these supply zones from previous, which didn't quite get mitigated. So in terms of the target wise, if we can get buys from this 15-minute zone, we could be looking at least about 30 pips up to this zone, about 75 pips up to there, and we're looking around about 100 pip move to the upside for that final zone. So we've got plenty of space for profit for that AUD potential trade. But apart from that, on AUD, that's all I'm seeing right now. The zones look quite clear, so it's one of the ones I'm favoring for this week. Moving on to GBPUSD. Now, something about GBPUSD I want to go over is, especially on the daily time frame, is we've got this 3 touches of this trend line on the daily time frame. Now, when you go into lower time frames, you'll be able to spot it a little bit easier. But at the moment, we've got this trend line forming in here, so there's a lot of liquidity on basically below this trend line. So that's what I'll be waiting for in terms of the bullish side of things, waiting to see it get into. Now technically we're still within this daily supply zone, this sort of buy to sell, this base drop supply zone, and from recent price action, literally the Friday's price action, we've seen price accumulate and really push to the upside quite strongly. So we are still within the zone. So it does depend on how market opens. Is market going to open by pushing price above this daily supply zone, or is it going to be looking to actually start rejecting and breaking structure to the downside and basically obeying and validating this supply? Now, if you look above the zone, what I've actually drawn out is 2 lines. There's one blue and one red, and what that is basically showing us is there is one very high mitigation point within the major supply zone, which I'm going to show you guys right now. So bear with me whilst we find the relevant price action, and we can see right in here, even on the hourly time frame, we've got a degree of equal highs sitting up here, and so that's where I've put this blue line. So if potential liquidity capture up in above those highs into the imbalance over here, and that is where the main supply essentially stepped in. So if price does look to take out the red demand zone here, then we can sort of expect, that's why we've got these labeled on, is maybe another spike into a deeper zone here to then come bearish. And obviously the red line here is just to depict the edge of the range there. So essentially you could just treat it as a new supply zone, like so. But in this case I've just labeled it with the lines just to show that that is a different zone to this. So that's what I'm looking for on GBPUSD right there. And as we reset the chart, we'll start to look into demand on this way as well. So going into the hourly time frame, we can see now the trend line, which I was talking about before from the daily time frame, how it translates onto these lower time frames. Very nice 3 touch of the trend line right in there. So definitely I feel like price should look to come back down here, and looking at how bullish GU looks, the movement back to the downside, it will be quite a nice move to be in on, seeing as how we can look to trade it all the way down to this trend line. So something I'll be waiting for is, obviously we've got this sell to buy zone, which it hasn't quite got into yet. So it may look to get into there, and by that point it should be below the trend line as well, ideally taking out liquidity, staying within demand, and then showing its true strength to the upside as well. Now some other zones which I am intrigued about is when we look at the 15-minute time frame. You can see even in the 5-minute we've got this rally-based rally which takes out previous supply. That alone looks like a really good example of a rally-based rally, so that's why I've highlighted it, and I'm intrigued to see what price does at that level. However, we do have equal lows within here, and it just about stayed above this demand zone over here. So maybe another mitigation into this demand zone to then go bullish. But again, we're so far away from that, we may be able to catch the sell down to these levels, and then we can look to slowly change our bias on that for GBPUSD. But for now, that's all I'm looking at on GBPUSD. And to end things off, we'll have a look at NZD/USD as well. So let's start off on the weekly time frame. We've had really good mitigation from this weekly zone here. Nice, I think it just about missed it, but in terms of the move, we can see it's a very strong move to the upside. Price has, got back into this level, so I do feel like eventually, this may not be, ASAP, but it will be looking to basically see price go below these lows again and get into the demand zone properly. So that's something I'll be waiting for long term. However, when we're looking at short term, we can see on the daily and the 4-hour time frames right in here, we've got a nice sell to buy candle right in here with an imbalance which was just about filled in quite nicely over here, and we've seen a strong good movement to the upside in there as well. Now when we go into lower time frames, we can definitely see the strong movement to the upside there, showing us that this demand was valid. Price comes back into it quite nicely over here, mitigates, shows bullish price action, and then eventually it does go to the upside quite nicely. So we can see the build up of the accumulation over here from basically Wednesday, Thursday and Friday last week. However, something I do want to just check out is this on the supply level, is looking at this previous high. It's kind of made equal highs, so definitely liquidity resting above these highs. So we'll be waiting to see maybe a manipulation of that. And then when I looked further before then, we actually do have a nice 30-minute buy to sell candle, and there's also some degree of drop supply zone in there as well. So I'll definitely be looking into this for some supply. If DXY seems to gain strength over this heavy news week, then that won't be a bad area to basically look for sells from on NZD/USD. So I definitely want to be looking into that area for supply. And then when it comes to demand, the only areas I can really sort of properly see, now obviously this is by zooming out as well, we've had good supply pushing price down and good supply pushing price down, and then something in here definitely pushed price above these levels. Whether it was this great move in here, or whether it was the accumulations just afterwards which really pushed price away, something that's just one to monitor. So we've got a lot of liquidity over here at these wicks and a good rally price action in there as well. So definitely want to see what happens in there for demand. Also another sell to buy over here on the 5-minute with an imbalance. However, when we actually look down on the 1-minute time frame and see, you can see the order blocks and the manipulation a lot more clearer on this side. However, you can see that this rally from before, where we saw the really nice move to the upside, which I feel is the main move that took out the structure above there and there, it hasn't quite done a full mitigation. Now it was very close, so I'm definitely going to be monitoring this place for demand basically. However, I won't be surprised if it does look to just wick into this blue line, fill in the complete imbalance, take out liquidity below these lows, and then go bullish. So that will be something I'll be looking into as well for NZD/USD. So there we have the full breakdown of all the Forex pairs and obviously the DXY that I'll be looking into for the week. We also had a very detailed look into the news for this upcoming week. If you are trading, then please do be careful. It's an extremely heavy news week with AUD and Euro interest rates, along with the FOMC and NFP news releases for the dollar as well. So please do trade with care this week. But that will bring us to the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed it and feel like you learned something and got something of value from it, then please do hit that like button and definitely subscribe if you're new around here as well. It really does mean a lot. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video for more of that trading source.